Hi everyone, it's Mark. I hope you're really well, and whatever you're up to creatively, I hope you're having fun. So, I wasn't initially going to release this as a video, but sometimes when you just kind of step back and have a think about what you could do, some inspiration jumps into your mind, and that's exactly what happened with this piece. So let me just explain. So the background to this I actually created a few months ago. In fact, probably 3 or 4 months ago now, when I was getting ready to create some autumnal pieces. And that was the inspiration for the background in this piece. But I placed this canvas to one side and I knew I would revisit it at some point, but I just didn't know when. Well, today is the day that I'm revisiting it, and this comes in a couple of different stages. So you'll see that I'm just using my paintbrush to add colour to the base of this canvas. And the colours that I'm using, as I say, are autumnal inspired. So we've got some orange, some red, some green, some yellow, some brown. And all I'm doing is I'm using my paintbrush just to blend in some of those colours. The colours that I'm actually using is a paint and water combination. It's just 1 part paint to 1 part water, so it's my usual Dutch pour consistency. So as you can see, I'm placing those colours on the canvas, one colour at a time, and just blending in those colours as I go. I'm trying to keep this in real time, although I have sped this up slightly just so you can see the full process. And then once I move on to the next stage, I'll come back and explain how I do the swirls. So there are all the colours that are on my canvas. As you saw, I used various colours that were autumnal inspired. But now I'm using a dry paintbrush. So it's just a dry brush and I'm just going to dip the brush onto the canvas and do some swirls all the way across that surface area. So I'm really happy with how this is looking. So let me take you in for a closer look now so you can see all those swirls and how they all entwine with each other. And it was at this point I decided to place the canvas to one side, ready for some inspiration in the future. So can you guess what I'm going to do with this one? So I have been doing some swipes recently and I've been using my embroidery hoop. But I have always had a fluid base. I've always had a fluid background when I've done those swipes. But today I'm not going to do that. I'm going to swipe on this dry background. I'm going to use these tools here, just sponge brushes. I've got my embroidery hoop in the centre of the canvas and I'm using two colours only, a white and a black. And those colours there are already fluid. I'm not adding any water or any pouring medium. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the black first, put some of the black on the outer edge of the embroidery hoop, and then some of the white. And I'm just going to do some lines around the edge of that embroidery hoop. I'm not adding too much, but I want enough volume to be able to spread that paint out across the canvas. So I'm now just going to line the outer edge of the embroidery hoop with the black and then the white. So now I've added the black and white around the edge. I'm now using the sponge brush just to dip that into the paint and spread it from the embroidery hoop to the outer edge. I'm applying quite a bit of pressure just to help spread that paint, because don't forget, we've not got any paint on this background. This is a dry background. So I'm just placing the brush into the paint, pressing down quite firmly, and then just dragging that paint as far as it goes. I'm not forcing it, so there's a solid line. I quite like how that paint's breaking up, and I'm going to do that all the way around that circle with the black and then the white. So I'm now finished with this part of the process. I'm just going to remove the embroidery hoop and I'll take you in for a closer look. But I'm not finished yet. I know that I need to do one more stage and I don't know if you can guess what I'm going to do, but I'm going to just use two more colours, but the same colours, black and white. But this time I'm going to use a spray paint. So can you guess what I'm going to do? So I don't know if you guessed it, but I'm outside in my garden. I've covered up some of the painting with some paper and I'm just using my spray paint. I'm outside just so it's well ventilated and I'm using the black paint first and then I'll use the white. I'm going to go around the full edge of this canvas, spraying the edges and just allowing that spray to go over some of that surface area. Once I've done the black, I'm then going to do the white. And guys, stick with me because this really transforms. And when I look back and reflect how it started out with a canvas that I wasn't really sure about what to do, I placed it to one side, waiting for that inspiration. And you know what? I think I've definitely done it justice. Wait until you see the final result. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to take this back inside to my art studio. And here is the reveal, doing it from the center outwards. So there's the background, there are the swipes, and there's the spray paint around the edges. So just using an autumnal palette for the base that I set aside to dry. I left it for a couple of months. And then I had that burst of inspiration of what to do. I've been doing these starbursts for a while and this just came to me when I was just considering what to do next. And it was a really happy experiment that I'm so pleased that I completed. So this is it. And I've got to say, is this one of my most favourite ones? Yes. Will I have more of these in the future? Most definitely. I hope you've had fun. I hope you've enjoyed the creation process from start to finish. And that's just a reminder that if you do a painting and you don't know what to do with it next, just place it to one side because you never know how it might transform in the future. Have a great week ahead, everyone. Take care, and I really hope I get to see you again in the next video. See you soon. Bye.